I love it. It's what we're working on. Welcome to the Canadian Bro Show. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the host and founder of the Canadian Bro Show, and I have one of my favorite co-hosts of the most. Thank goodness, doing the show with us. This is episode 26, and this is the second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show. The first iteration is all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny, and mostly about pop culture in Canada. We've done 40 episodes. Episodes is 40 is up. And sorry, I just want to make sure my mic is not irritating. Trent, can you hear me? Is everything okay over there?
Yeah, you're quiet. It kind of was staticky there for a sec, but
Yeah.
now you're good.
All right. And today's show is episode 26. On the ticker below, for those that are watching the show, you can actually check out various websites, my real estate website. And Trent's does a radio show with Ben Poulin. They've just done over 50 episodes on Spotify called Two Guys in One Rant. It's fantastic. Welcome, Trent, my co-host at the most. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fine, man.
Yeah.
Doing great.
What's happening in St. Paul, Alberta?
It's rainy and cloudy right now, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like that for most of the week, which is fine because it's
Yeah.
been hot and dry. So no, it's not a bad
Hey, listen, thanks for joining me, Trent. We have the Viciously Ferocious, episode 26. The beasts from the east clashes the weapons from the west. Road to the NBA playoffs. We're going to be talking about an NBA mock draft with the top 10 picks. We're going to talk about Cooper Flagg and how he fits into the Dallas Mavericks. And we have to talk about initially, or whenever Trent wants to, because he is our Caitlin Clark uh, specialist, if you will. And
thing.
we're both very fond of her, and we both watched her the opening game of the WNBA season. So, welcome everybody. For those that like basketball, this is the place to be. This is all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. And Trent, what would you like to start off with? I think we should go right into the. What's up to you?
Well, first weekend games on
I
Friday
think
and
so.
Saturday.
Eh?
I mean, good way to start. Doubleheader on Saturday. Of course, the prime time or afternoon game was the Fever. It just happened to be Chicago because
We're
ESPN and
talking
everybody
about the WNBA, folks.
everybody wants to
Fantastic.
build up this uh, make believe rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. They don't play the same positions.
Yeah.
There's not a rivalry there. It's a white and black thing that the media's helped create. Plus the stooges, the people that are out there that all they do is make things about race, white and black. This is just about basketball. And Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player, women's basketball player right now, and probably without injury, uh, will go down as probably one of the best ever to do it. I mean, it's open the season with a triple double, 35-point win. As you said in our pre talk before, Indiana did all the right things in the offseason. They signed the right people. They got the great coach. Uh, Stephanie White is just a winner at every level. She has won as a college player at Purdue, won a women's national championship as a player there, won a championship as a player for the Indiana Fever, when Tamika Catchings, who's a basketball Hall of Famer, played, and then went on to coach the Connecticut Sun. And I don't believe she won a title as a coach yet. I think that's the one that's missing. And if she can stick with the Fever long enough, and I hope she's a Midwestern girl, so hopefully she stays there. Um, I I I'd be very shocked to not see them win a title in the next couple of years with what they're doing in general. But it was a good start. It was a great start to the weekend for WNBA, and it continues tomorrow night at 5 p.m. You got the Fever game on TSN at like 5 o'clock or 5:30 against Atlanta. So, and there's a game on tonight. Misfits, Dallas Wings with Paige Beckers, who struggled a little bit in her opening game with Dallas against Seattle, who has a 6'6" French girl, a 19-year-old, that's going to get better too. So there's so many storylines in the WNBA. A lot of people don't look at it because they don't watch it, or they don't talk about it like you and I do, or I do with some other friends of mine. I think it's growing popularity. I think it's having its golden moment right now. This is the golden age for women's basketball and women's sports. Period.
It's going to actually explode. It's going to be gone to much higher level, right?
Now you're right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, definitely. It's just what's happening is incredible. I want to talk about the game. It was the very first WNBA game yesterday. I taped it, recorded it because anyways, I finally got to see it, and I honestly, I was just absolutely enthralled the entire. It was such a fascinating game. It was a blowout, and
Yeah,
Caitlin did exactly what I was hoping she would do, and she, a phenomenal triple double, and it looked so easy because in the first half you'd never know she was on her way to a triple double. The way she orchestrated the offense and the fluidity and synergy, the extra passing, the inside outside playing of Boston inside dominating and everybody had the same page. The coach, everybody was on the same. It was really extraordinary. And of course, more importantly, guess who they did it against?
yeah, exactly.
The arch nemesis of Caitlin Clark. It seems. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it is racist. I don't know if it's color, but it's certainly basketball. And I understand they're both very talented young ladies. But Caitlin's the best player in the world, and Angel better just get that into her her noggin and realize, and she will, and maybe she never will. Who knows?
She won't. She'll never. It'll never happen again. What we've talked about before. She's a really good player too.
Oh yeah,
Nobody thinks ever when you go online, you go on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, all those types of social media stuff. The backlash against her, it's never about basketball. It's just people don't like her, and it's all the extra stuff, and
but
it's
why
unfair.
is that, Trent? What is she gives off a certain vibe, does she not?
Well, my thing with her, again, as a guy, I mean, you and I played lots of basketball as well. As an undersized guy, I always took pride in I could get rebounds. And I think that it's an art that if you can be good at rebounding, people don't realize how hard that really is because of the
Well, Trent,
physicality of
face
basketball,
it.
right? I mean,
I know you're a humble chap, but you're what 6'3" in a good day with a 7 foot wingspan.
it's
So
two and a half.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying that I've always appreciated that aspect of. And there's a reason that Moses Malone is one of my favorite players of all time.
yeah, of
He's
course.
the all-time rebounder, even ahead of Wilt, for God's sakes. But
And
Wilt and
you
Wilt,
know that Moses Malone had a very short wingspan, right?
yeah,
His arms were quite short.
but he was 6'10". I would have taken
Well,
6'10".
because like all smart big men, all they have to do is do this, right?
So
Don't bring
yeah,
it down. Just do
yeah,
this.
yeah. So I actually appreciate the game that she has. It's the outside stuff. It's the one thing that you go. So last year, you go on, you become an SI swim suit model. Great. That's a great. You made Cameron Brink did it as well. You guys are making money.
She probably made a
That's
nice
it.
little bit of
Like,
change.
you're making money outside of basketball. That's great, right? You're seeing these types of endorsements, just like the men's game do. It's growing. It's
Yep,
coming.
yep,
But instead,
yep.
then a month later, you're teary-eyed in a press conference because you feel like you're being sexualized. You just fucking posed in and excuse my language, you just posed in SI in a bikini, and now you're telling me you're being sexualized. Do you see the outfits you wear to a game? And not just her, but a lot of the players. Like,
No,
when it
but
comes,
hey, Trent, let me just talk about this. Nobody's mentioned her
uh,
outfit. Her basketball shorts have been intentionally shortened significantly, and to extend the length of her legs and be a little bit more sexual. I mean,
I don't know. I
seriously,
gotta look
when
into that one.
somebody complains about that and that's what they're doing, honestly, what a contradiction in terms, really.
It's to play as a. She wants to be a physical tough player, known as a dog. She goes, "I'm a dog. You can't teach that." I'm all for that. I love it. She got 17 boards in this game, right? I
Yeah,
mean, so she's going to lead the league in rebounding again, just like she did last year as a rookie. It's
yeah,
phenomenal. But it's the you want to play that way, but then you want to play a victim everywhere else. I can't do it. I don't care the color of your skin, and that's part of the biggest problem is that ESPN has created a rivalry here. They don't play the same position. They're not the same players.
hmm
They've created a rivalry, and it's become out of race, and that's what it became. You go online and you read comments of posts, especially Angel Reese posts that people comment on, and it always ends up being racial. The Caitlin Clark ones, it's just dudes that don't like her or are jealous or just don't like. The first thing they bring up when someone says, "Hey, she led the league in assists." Oh, she also set a turnover record. Yeah, great.
And but
Or
her turnover assist
and
uh,
reaching the shot block
numbers,
where she
her
became
numbers are incredible. Her turnover assist numbers are incredible. They're like 2, 3 to 1, anyways.
Angel Reese
Like,
shot
what
the
are you
worst
talking
percentage.
about?
Angel Reese shot the worst
Um,
percentage keep
But
open and
the thing I really noticed watching her for the very first time in the game and watching the entire game is her pinpoint passing and her leadership and
right.
her intensity and her character. She's just really kudos to her parents and how she grew up. She's a really well-rounded superstar, and it's refreshing to see humility and somebody that is truly team. And I think she's incredible. I really do.
I
I
would
just
I would just
it
end the
was
whole thing with this
very
quote.
exciting to watch.
The Caitlin Clark Angel Reese thing to me, I would just say this to everybody. I don't care who you like, who you dislike. Just root for them. Just enjoy
Sure,
what they both
sure,
are really good at
yeah, yeah,
because it isn't easy to get 17 rebounds in a game. It's not easy to average 13 rebounds in a game, right? It's just let's just enjoy what they're both good at. The outside stuff I could care less about, man. We're doing a basketball show. I don't care about the other stuff. But that's all. The only other stuff that you get is it's in every other source of social media. That's the fight. It's not about their basketball skills because they're two different players, two different skills. What Caitlin Clark did, yeah, everybody wants to say stat padding. They beat him by almost 40. She was in the game with like 6 minutes left to get that one rebound to give her a triple double.
yeah.
I
Of
get
course, yeah, of
that.
course.
Am I for that? I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. It's great for her to get a triple double, but at the same time, when you look at
Did
it,
did she not? Did she not go back in?
yeah, she went back in to get that one rebound,
She
right?
no, but she asked to go back in.
Yeah, she did, and her coach said, "All right, we'll go get one then." And then
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
it
I
came
don't
down.
think there's anything wrong with that.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but at the same time, I can see the people that I'm not going to disparage or really disagree with the people that go, "Hey, it's kind of stat padding." Yeah, it kind of
Yeah,
is a little bit to get it, but I don't care either way. I'm more worried that why put her in the game. I get it for that, but the risk of stepping on someone's foot and twisting an ankle and being out for 3 weeks or something like that. There's that what if in that scenario. So what's more important, right? For me, it's her being there all season, not getting a triple double. She's gonna have
absolutely.
the player that she is. She's gonna have many opportunities to get triple doubles. She's already like third or fourth all time in triple doubles in
Yeah,
the history
yeah.
of the WNBA. Like
I
it's
really don't think stats is going to be an issue for Caitlin Clark
no,
whatsoever because she, like Wayne Gretzky, when I first saw Wayne Gretzky play ice hockey and saw him skate, I think he was about 13 or something. And then I saw him play in when he hit the Edmonton, I think his first season when he had, I don't know, he scored 297 goals or something ridiculous. And I saw this guy skate and I was like, who the fuck? Who is this dude? I've never seen anybody move like that. I mean, very few. And of course you see that in different sports as well. And Caitlin just she's not overly fast. She's not over excessively athletic, but she is so smooth and fluid and concise. Her passing, her one hand bounce pass from 25 feet is threading the needle on a
either
backdoor cut.
either hand.
Dude, that is
But
a tough pass to make right there.
but like the pass she made at the like again, we talked about the synergy that she has with Kelsey Mitchell, who's a great
And
scorer,
Boston.
and Boston. But Kelsey Mitchell, first of all, everybody forgets about her.
Oh, she's
Uh,
incredible.
One of the all-time leading scorers in college history at Ohio State.
Really, I did not
Really?
know that.
Yeah, and in the Big
I
Ten,
like her even more now.
she's actually second of all time in the Big Ten in scoring.
I love her.
So,
She's a gunner, man. She's a gunner. She never met a shot she doesn't like, and she can shoot it.
but her Leah Boston and Caitlin Clark, without the dunking, are Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah,
They have this connection that it's like she's threading passes between two people because Aaliyah Boston knows if I take these two steps, I'm going to get a pass and get a layup. And that's what happened last year. Not to say she tries some crazy stuff that's going to be a turnover in Clark. I think last year a big part of it was is that some of these women they haven't seen someone pass the ball like that.
yeah,
They're not
yeah.
used to seeing the ball get there on those kind of plays. There's so much more. And we're
You
talking
know,
about
it's an interesting comment, and while she was chasing Pistol Pete Maravich's unbeatable, unchaseable record, um, and people, I mean, Pistol, he averaged over 44 points a game without a 3 point line, but he also averaged almost 10 assists a game. And he hardly any turnovers, and he had a lot of flash. And he was dropping dimes all over the place. That's how good he was. But I see the female version of Pistol Pete in her. And when she broke his record, I could not believe it. I just couldn't believe it. There's no way.
It only
And
took me
then,
2 years of bugging you to finally start watching
dude, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, no way.
it.
And then when she did, it was like, wow. And this girl is special. And anyways, I'm so excited for the WNBA. I'm excited for her. I'm going to go on the record in this very first. This is not our first episode on WNBA. We've done at least 10
No, but the start of the
on
of
previous
W.
episodes, but this is the start of the 2025-26 season. And I am going to go out on the limb, Trent, and say that Caitlin's going to, if they can stay healthy, Caitlin's going to lead them to an WNBA championship, and she's going to win the MVP. And she's going to go down as the greatest female basketball player in the history of the game.
Okay. Well, those are lofty expectations.
I
They,
believe she can do it.
the New York Liberty will have something to say about that. They look really good against Las Vegas when
Hey,
Natasha
that's not the only team. There's a lot of good teams in that league this year, man.
Cloud Natasha Cloud from Phoenix was a great ad for
Yeah,
New York as a scorer and a defender.
yeah, yeah,
Um, the Aces are going to be there eventually. I think they have some new pieces like Jewel Lloyd and stuff that they've got to figure out how to play together. And Phoenix looked pretty good too, uh, via Seattle against Seattle. What I'm
yeah,
hoping for
yeah.
is I'm really hoping for. I think the game's a little different. I think that Paige Beckers is going to have to get used to it, get used to the pace and the physicality. I think she's going to be a really good player. I don't. Again, I hate comparing players, especially right now when they're first in the league. Um, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers aren't the same type of player.
No,
Don't
no.
compare them. Both can be great. One doesn't have to be greater than the other.
I hope for the sake of the WNBA that they create more all stars and more great basketball players because of Caitlin's
Yeah. But yeah,
extraordinary.
there's about four other teams in the right now that I would say, and I would put in the top five. I would put Indiana in the top five. But
Definitely.
there's three other teams right now that I would put ahead of them for sure, and that would be the Liberty, the Aces, and the FISA Collier and the Minnesota Lynx, who were in the finals last year and lost. They're going to be going to be tough. I mean, she got
What was the team you
34.
said before? What was the team you said before the Lynx, Trent?
The Aces, Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Got those three teams, the Fever, and probably I would think Atlanta Dream, bringing in Griner and a couple other people free agent wise.
yeah,
They've got a pretty good team as well.
yeah.
Um,
What
but
about the Sparks?
they're kind of they've got some good players. I mean, hey, Kelsey Plum going for 37 on opening night. That was pretty
Dude,
sweet.
I honestly that I
Shot
watched the
two for
highlights
10
of that.
shot 2 for 10 the next game, but hey, whatever.
Yeah,
37-67,
it
doesn't matter.
happened. It
Um,
happened.
it was a good opening night that Friday night. The record was 34. Collier from Minnesota tied it, and then Kelsey Plum was like, "Hey, hold my beer," and scores 37 on opening night. Right, so it was a really good opening weekend for the WNBA. They've just been
And this
really
is a really good opportunity to reach out to any and all female interested people in basketball. They play basketball, female ballers, hoopers, hoopsters, hoop junkies. You enjoy the show. I was on the Trent. I was telling you pre-show. I was on the analytical side of the YouTube channel in studio, and it was breaking it. It breaks it down. It's very concise. Really helps you understand algorithms and statistics, and it gets you an idea of your crowd, demographics, and so on. And by the way, Trent, we had I think it was 34% women were actually watching the show, and which is awesome. So to all those women, this is we really care about. We are hoop junkies, and we want to talk about all kinds of basketball. And WNBA is something we're going to be spending a great deal of time talking about because it's basketball is the fastest growing team sport in the world, and what Caitlin Cart and others have transcended the game into it's just incredible.
and ladies, we know it's not just the basketball talk that we do.
Of course, young ladies.
All right, but
I
yeah,
Trent
great
and I
weekend.
did lots of volunteer basketball teaching in our communities, and I've taught young ladies as young as 7, 8 years old, and they're just gamers. The balls are smaller, but just little powerhouses, and look what can happen. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
is there anything else you want to share with the WNBA at this point?
Start the WNBA season, and yeah, I mean,
More to come, eh?
Can't wait till tomorrow night. The Fever game's on tomorrow night, and they're on again on Saturday night on CBS too. So
Dude, I'm so excited. This is really,
this
I should
this
actually
is
see.
what they should have been doing, right? Here's how you market your golden goose. You put
Yeah,
her on TV, and not just TV that's streaming, but on cable with where TSNs and the sports nets and the
national
other networks
television.
pick them up, national television. This is how you grow your game.
Yeah,
Way better than last year. Like much better already to a start. Plus, you see all the commercials in game. There's a ton of commercials in game that had females that play in the league in
yeah,
commercials.
yeah, yeah.
This is
No, it's
again
exciting.
golden era for that basketball right now.
It's
Golden
really
era.
exciting for the sport trend. It's going to be really interesting to see how that evolves, develops, and the growth. I think is what I've seen so thus far has been absolutely astounding.
Yeah, it's great, man.
The level and the power and the pace and the growth and of course what's going to happen is the amount of money that's going to be generated hopefully is going to benefit the league, and they're going to be in the plus for the first time in what, how many years?
Dude, the girls that are coming into the league. Hidalgo from Notre Dame, Juju, hopefully
Oh,
she recovers from her knee injury
oh
this year,
man.
right? So the girls that are coming, that's only two vets at UCLA, 6'7" girl that can play. It's only if the talent is coming. This is this first kind of wave of all this talent coming right now for the WNBA.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to
That's what I
expand.
mean. I agree with you. It's
Girls,
I
there's
can see
girls
it, and it's electrifying to see the possibilities.
there's girls that were cut from teams that you need more teams in the league that probably should be in the league and aren't because there's not enough teams, right?
Hey Trent, were you ever
So
cut from a sports team?
no,
No.
no, I was never a bench warmer.
Yeah. Oh, I was a bench warmer my very
I
first
was good at sports.
year.
I wasn't great. I was just good at it, and I played hard in whatever sports I played. And
I
yeah,
was really good at it, and I was a great athlete, but I was probably 75 pounds in grade 4.
but you're probably super uncoachable. You're probably just such a little.
No, I was the most coachable kid. And me and Mike Sweeney sat next to each other, and Mike ended up winning. They end up going to came third in BC's at Vancouver College with Tony Medic, and Sweeney was. We were both rotting on the bench, and we both played longer than, and we went farther than anyone else in St. Augustine's.
I love it.
We were called the Angels, and we were Angels maybe for a couple of years, but that changed
You know,
quickly.
speaking of speaking of a person or a guy who's probably never sat on the bench, um, he's going to be the number one pick in the draft. In the draft, that everybody thinks the team that had 1.8% to win, that it was a conspiracy because
Well, there
there was
was two teams
their
that had 1.8%.
yeah.
One had 1.9,
The one
and
that
the
had
other
one
had 1.
to win at 1.8 with the kind of guy that people want to talk about this guy, how good he is or how great he's going to be. Uh, yeah, there's no such thing as coincidence. That's all
No, no.
I'll say. But I mean, this
No,
draft is going to be
Trent, that wasn't coincidence. That was just really good luck, bro.
yeah, really good luck. Just like the Knicks and getting Ewing in '84. Just luck. Just luck. It's sports.
Oh, that
So
was
much
really
money
cool when it
involved.
happened. I
I'm
was
sure
like
you
the
were happy.
basketball gods finally give some love to the Knicks, and of course, look what's going on with the Knicks right now. But anyways, Cooper, do you
You
want
were
to talk
finally
about?
happy. Yeah, we'll talk about Cooper after this comment. You were so happy because you like when you saw Patrick Ewing, you went, "Hey, now I understand. All those years in science, I always wondered what the
Don't
practicality
don't
was
say it.
of a Bunsen burner, and
Don't
then
say
you
it.
got to find out because they unthawed that guy before every game. Cro-Magnon man, like Patrick Ewing. Like, come on, seriously, love that guy. He's a good dude. So
Oh,
great.
you're terrible.
But that's why you were so happy because it finally gave you a purpose of why you used the Bunsen burner in junior high.
It's obvious why any Nick fan was happy when they got the big man. The saddest part about the story is he never won a championship,
Because you got the man
and if
there.
he got close, if the power forward that he had actually could make a layup, they had a chance to win it all one year.
You can
Do you
thank this
remember?
guy right here. You can thank this guy right here.
And how do you have
Right
anything to
up
do with that?
I don't have anything. I said this guy, as in the two pitchers behind me.
Oh, you're talking about. I thought you
That
were
guy,
talking about yourself once
that guy,
again.
that guy
Trent
kept.
talks about himself often,
Okay, here comes the
um, but
narcissist.
he's actually talking about Michael Jordan. He's got two
All kind
phenomenal
of deflecting.
posters.
He's a narcissist. This is what guys like him and Trump do. They deflect on their own issues. So. But
Oh,
there's a reason Patrick Ewing has no titles, and
be
it's
kind. It's free.
the guy behind me right there. That's
It's
the guy.
easy.
That's why Patrick Ewing has no ring.
All you
So
got to do,
I love it. So, but
just
yes, let's talk
embrace,
about this draft because I know
embrace the play.
you were all happy when Dallas got it. I was just like, holy crap, and you were just
You
like,
know
yeah,
what? I told you a couple probably the week before in our last show. I just had this. I said, listen, I had a premonition or whatever you want to call it, and I saw and the number came in at 1819
yeah,
to my head, and I was like, and I didn't know what the numbers were. I knew the top three at 14%, I believe, and but therefore after and because the Raps were somewhere around seventh or whatever, but they ended up getting ninth, I believe. So they had 1.9% to get what Dallas did. And then everyone's saying it was a LeBron included. He even said it himself, apparently, after that it was all,
okay.
a
The best,
conspiracy.
as I said to you, the best response to that on Twitter. I refuse to call it the other name. It's Twitter. Always will be.
Yeah, a lot of people
Um,
do that.
the best, the best thing I cracked up is so when they announced the first pick, LeBron's response. Some guy shares it, and it's just all laughy faces, right? So he's obviously like, look at this. Well, the best response, the first response to that was a guy who said, "Hey, I had the same response as that when the Lakers drafted your kid." Oh my God, I probably laughed for 5 minutes, but the internet always wins. It wins every time, man. Don't mess with the internet. Like, don't
No,
put that
no.
stuff out there and not expect to get it back. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Threads can be
Anyways,
like I don't know if you ever use Threads, but Threads is
no, I'm
another
not on.
it's another meta creation that I use for the show. And if you hit it, I've had one video we did, and also a blurb on something else about basketball or whatever, and it ended up having 790 hits,
Oh yeah,
which is remarkable. I mean,
yep,
that's Facebook,
yep.
not on roids.
It's the Twitter version of Facebook is what Threads is.
It's all owned by, well, not Twitter. It's the Twitter
Yeah,
version is called Blue Sky. That's the new one,
right, blue sky.
but it's X. I use X as well. Anyways,
But yeah, first pick.
so do you want to? Are we going to do a mock draft though? Like, I
I wasn't
everyone.
really prepared to do a mock draft. I figured we're just going to talk about the draft a little bit and some of the stuff
Okay.
that might happen. As in, we talked about before we started. Again, I
So
think we all know.
assuming Dallas takes Cooper.
We all know if they again, that would be as big a shock as it was for their Nudnik GM, whatever his name is, Rodrigo. There, I mean, to trade Luka Doncic. Now you can see maybe there are some deficiencies in Luka Doncic. Maybe that's why they traded him. But to make that trade, and everybody was so shocked, you'll be even more shocked if they don't take Cooper Flag for the first pick. I
Yeah.
mean, could you imagine if they keep the pick and they don't pick him? I mean, it would just be like, all
Well,
right,
in the
then.
pre-show, Trent and I
San
came up
Antonio
with
be going, sweet.
the Bucks trying to
Sometimes
steal Cooper and
Giannis,
reboot and trade the Greek Freak to Dallas.
Giannis is out. Giannis will not be a Milwaukee Buck next year.
No,
I, I'm predicting that right now. And
no.
I just hope he doesn't go to the Lakers. 'Cause, my God, never hear the end of it.
Oh, the Greek Freak to the Lakers?
Oh,
That would be a championship.
I hope not. I
Oh,
can't.
I hope so.
Oh, great.
Or I hope they go to the Knicks.
And your boy LeBron's can have another guy helping him get a ring.
No, the Greek Freak can play power forward, no problem, and he can
I
play
know.
five.
Oh, I know. Good player.
So
Great player.
I could totally see that happening.
But I would say with the Dallas thing, we can kind of chuckle about him not like Dallas trading that pick. But realistically, first of all, what does Dallas give up? And he's going to a team unless they give up Lively and who was the other big that you really liked in fantasy there this year? Gafford.
Yeah,
So if
I
they
love
didn't give up those
Gafford.
two, if they
He's
didn't
one
give
of
up
the
those
best
two,
shot blockers in the NBA, top 10, anyways.
but if they don't give him up, Giannis goes to a team that has a lot of guys his size that play his position, basically. So they'd probably be giving those guys up, right? I mean, I don't know. I think Dallas would be foolish not to pick him. I
I
was
think
rooting for San Antonio. I
they'd have
really,
to give up too much. I think really.
I was all in for San Antonio. Wemby and Cooper Flag on the same team.
Yeah.
Come on, that's must watch TV
I
right
think it's actually I think Dallas is a really, whether it's real, a conspiracy, setup, whatever you want to believe.
there. Great
I
spot.
like the pick. I think they keep it. I think what happens is PJ, they need to start that kid right away. So
Yeah,
PJ can be six man off the bench. I think he's better suited for it. He's always injured anyways.
yeah.
And he can play both of Cooper's positions.
I'd be
And
shocked.
then they got Lively, they got Gafford, right? They don't have to give anybody up. And then they got the Brow, and you got PJ, and then you get Mr. Flat Earth back,
Yeah.
and they've got a plethora of young guards in the backcourt that have played quite well in
I think
depth.
Max Christie's going to be a good player. I don't think he's going to be a great NBA player, but I think he's a pretty serviceable player, like to play 25 minutes a game kind of
Who's
guy.
that?
Max Christie. I think he's going to be
I
a
think he's going to get better than that. I think he started off gangbusters, and they were
yeah,
really happy with it. But
yeah,
when they got their injuries sorted out,
yeah.
he had a little harder time finding
He's
his efficiency.
a role
You know?
player, and he can be very good at it. I think,
Yeah,
but
I like him. I
I
think it
mean,
was a good pickup.
in the lineup with him, with Kyrie, I mean, really, you could play PJ because you could go Kyrie and him and play PJ Washington at power forward and Cooper Flag at small forward, or mix and match
There's
and play
flexibility there for sure,
so
Trent.
much
Absolutely.
flexibility on that team with him drafting.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again,
No, I agree. I
some of these
agree.
guys are professionals. People have egos. Are guys going to be willing to take 5 less minutes in a game, right?
Yeah, I think having the
Balance.
Brow with Cooper, and having one of the bigs like Gafford at power forward as well. Or no, the Brow would play power forward, so you need a legit center, and Gafford can be that, but they'll probably lean towards Lively because they
Right.
don't have to give him up, and they just tag team those two bigs the whole season anyways,
Yeah.
and then PJ's coming in for Cooper, give him a spell, and he can learn, he can mentor from, depending on who Cooper's, as a rookie, who's veteran he's going to be, you know, how that whole works. I like Dallas a lot.
I
I
think they
think
need another guard for sure.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, you know what?
Because I think if you get rid of some of those bigs and trade for a guard or see who's a free agent this year at a shooting guard spot, right? I mean,
Yeah, believe me, they'll attract a lot because there's a lot of small forwards and guards that are now looking to, hey, I don't want to go anywhere. Let's ride this.
and I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie is a good player, but Spencer Dinwiddie is a bench player. He's a sixth, seventh man. He's not a starter for me.
Even a seventh man, I think he's
Whatever.
definitely a pro. He's an NBA player.
He's a player for sure. But he's not a. You need a better starter than Spencer Dinwiddie,
I
and
agree.
that's where they and with who
He's a
they
bit
have
of a
this
chucker,
year.
eh? Like his shooting percentage trend is, it needs some work, bro.
He had a couple of good years in Brooklyn, but that's when the space was floored when you got Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving on the team, getting a lot of open shots playing with those three guys, right? So,
That dissipated quickly, eh?
yeah, well, nobody can be healthy. So. But no, I mean, I, I think, I mean, San Antonio's in a great spot getting second pick. I
What?
hope they, uh, I hope they pick Bailey. I know they're calling for them, but they need a guard as well, right? Um,
How can you
but
tell? How can you turn
I
down? I
mean,
think Dylan Harper's the second best player in the draft.
yeah, and you got Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey. Those are the two you have to choose
Right.
from, right?
But
And
I mean, they need a
I
point guard
that's
because
what I mean. They need a guard. Yeah,
they
they do.
they need a point guard. Now he can be a good combo guard. I like the fact that his dad was pretty heady and solid.
Yep.
And he's got good size.
Dude,
Uh,
he's 6'4" with a 10.5 foot, a 6'10.5" wingspan, right?
they
So
got 6'4 3/4, or 6'4 1/4, but whatever.
whatever. I don't need that.
No, I like him. I think he's going to be really good long term. And they're going to build a dynasty, and I think you really got to pay attention to the Spurs. Good
Standing
lord.
reach of eight
Do you
foot
know?
six.
Do you know that Wemby? If you look at the season block leaders top 10,
Yep.
and Wemby's number one, of course, by a
Yep.
long shot, and he only played half the year.
That's great.
I mean, it's a
Too bad they
freaking nation.
robbed. Too bad they
And
robbed him
and
of
please,
such a
please,
player.
can everybody talk his real height? If you say Porzingis is 7'3", Wemby's 7'4", my friend,
Yeah,
7'4".
that's
That's
crazy.
huge.
Yeah,
That's Ralph Sampson,
yeah. More athletic version of Rel Sampson.
very much so, younger.
Now, if you could put on the same type of get the same type of shoulder and leg size that Ralph Sampson
He's
had, but
he's got the broad
has it,
shoulders
it's there.
already,
But
and he's
he's
got the long. Have you looked at his hands? He's got like these Egyptian,
he's only 20.
Asian, these like they're alien hands, man.
He hasn't even got his man strength yet. He's only 20 years
I know
old.
it's crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
But I think Dylan Harper is
He's,
the best pick, and if I was San Antonio, I'd grab Dylan.
Yeah, I don't disagree. They need a guard. They need guard help there. Chris
So
Paul.
what do you think 3, Trent? What do you think about you think Ace
But
Bailey's gonna get it?
that's probably where Sixers go. They probably go to him. They need that help because Paul George is not a small forward. He's a shooting guard. He's a big
I know,
shooting
but
guard.
I thought Ace was actually
Sorry,
taller than
he's a
6'7" and a half. I thought
he's
Ace is like
a
6'10".
sorry. He's not even a shooting guard. He's a podcaster. Sorry, my bad on Paul George.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about that Paul George is a. That's why I think Bailey's a pick
Oh,
because
let's
where
hey, let's not
he's a
waste
shooting guard.
airtime on Paul George, please.
And I
Mr.
went to someone
Quarter Billion and he's fishing.
who said he's a
That's
basketball player, and I said, "Excuse me,
no,
he's a
you know
pod.
what? He's a better businessman than he is a basketball player. Let's put it that way.
He's a good
He
player
got
too." And
paid.
but yeah, 6, 7.5, 7 foot wingspan, right?
Yeah, he's athletic as hell.
Again, these kids are so young right now. They need 2 to 3 years to even fill their bodies out. I mean, I wish
Yeah.
they'd stay in college longer because that's probably what would help. They'd be doing a lot of lifting, but I get
They're gonna get a
the
very fast track to the NBA very quickly, especially the first round, first 10 picks.
yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah, yeah,
10, 15 picks anyways.
right,
But I like him. I think he's gonna go there. I think the 76ers, I think he's gonna fit in nicely there. That's what they need.
right.
I just don't know if he's ready. Trent, I agree with you on that comment about
Oh,
being too
he's
early.
oh, he's so small. Like he's so scrawny.
He's
I don't know.
unpolished.
Yeah,
He's
very.
unpolished,
Yeah,
essentially,
that'd
but
be a
he's
typical kicker.
extremely it's very curious. The Charlotte Hornets, my goodness, I hope they can do something,
Just,
anything
just, uh,
positive.
just to finish on the Sixers, Bailey is the perfect type pick for them because they're still in the process. Like
Yeah,
they're still
yeah,
doing that for the
yeah.
last decade. The process is still happening, so they
And
need
for
to
the
pull the
next
player out.
decade, probably. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
for my
your favorite
buddy, Coach Nurse, man. I love that guy, and
your favorite team, the Charlotte
goodness,
Hornets.
what
Of
a
course.
what a shit show.
Eh?
Wow, one of the
Don't
worst
worry,
teams in the
start
NBA, maybe
there.
franchises.
This is probably where we'll
That's
start.
that's just that's not my opinion necessarily. That is just the numbers don't
Terrible.
they always the stats always really much tell the truth.
So
They're
who do you think they go to?
oh fuck. Pardon my French. I do think they need help in the backcourt.
Eh?
Because I don't know what they're doing with their centers, but I think Mark Williams, they're going to keep him now. And I think they're going to keep the Bosnian Beast because he had some moments and
Right.
he's a budget for them. They got the young kid that's already there, so I think they go guard. I think they go shooting guard and go for someone like out of Baylor. I like that kid VJ
So,
Edgecombe.
yeah. So
Um, and, and he's 6'4", 6'5". He's got good size. He's really smart. I just and Baylor has a great program. They always put out these players that are very heady. Eh?
I will disagree on this one.
Okay.
I do agree that they need guard play. For me, as a armchair GM, I would take Mark Williams and someone else on that team and probably move them for a guard, a veteran that can play,
Mhm.
or find one in free agency. And I would draft. I think this kid's one of probably the underrated guy. I know most places have him going 8 and 9, but I would be taking the South Sudan kid from Duke that played in the
Oh,
Olympics.
you're gonna
That guy
grab him early, eh?
is better than Mark Williams. I'm sorry, he'll be better
Well,
than Mark Williams halfway through the season. That guy, I mean, the
yeah.
kid is a player, dude. That kid is
I
a
I'm gonna hold off, and
athlete.
I'm gonna pick them a little bit later. I think they're gonna go for a guard. They need a guard. They need a guard
And
that can score.
I agree that
And
that's probably who they're picking. I agree with you.
I mean, look on paper, Edgecombe I think is a natural fit because he slides in between Lamelo and Brandon Miller, who's explosive. That kid's gonna be special, man. You watch out for Brandon. Woo,
But
those
why don't Charlotte if Charlotte really needs a guard instead Edgecombe's a shooting guard. He's not a
no, but they got
no.
Brandon Miller is gonna be a guard. He's gonna be their point guard.
Why don't you
And
move
and and Melo's injured. He plays 50 games a year, man.
I would move Melo to like a shooting guard because of his size.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what you still have the other kid then if that's what they would do as coaching, well then I could look at picking the point guard out of Oklahoma fear over him over Edge. If
Yeah,
that's the philosophy they would go with, right? But they're just not going to do that.
Jeremiah
Melo
Fears
has to
is
have the ball.
if I was looking for a point guard, that's the player I'd pick.
Yeah.
But
So
he's not a point guard. I think they already got the point guard. I think Brandon Miller is going to be he's going to be he's going to watch him next year. The kid's outrageous. And I agree with you. Put ball over it too, and let him be creative. and they can play off each other. They can change it up because ball's not going to stop anyone defensively, but Miller can actually stay in front of players, other point guards,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at it from that perspective.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
VJ gives you help on the wing and shooting guard and can play third point guard
Right.
with one of those two,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Don't
So,
disagree.
but we're forgetting Brandon Miller. Don't forget that kid is going to have a great year next
Yeah.
year. I hope.
I agree.
And then we got don't forget Miles. Bridges played fantastic
I hate a
this year.
bad kid. You're like, he's a good player. Right?
I love him. I love him. He's electrifying,
Player.
explosive,
Good player at Michigan State too.
and he's ambidextrous. He's a lefty who shoots, but he finishes with his right. Like it's butter, man. Watching him play, he can. It's just I love him.
Yep.
Anyways, there's hope there, and I really hope they do get better. I hope they keep everyone together, the core. And I agree. If Trent, if they want to take that risk, I think the kid from Sudan, I totally get it. I'd pick him later myself. There's other players I'd grab before him, myself personally, but it depends on your team's needs. And I don't own a team right now, and I'm not a general manager, but I am a hoop junkie, so I can use my imagination. Who's next, Trent?
Well, I'd say we leave it at the top four for now.
Well, that's
That's
five
where
if
we're
we
at.
take Fears.
Sorry.
I
Sure.
think the Jazz take Fears
Yeah. So
at
we
5.
put in the top five, and then we move to talking about four teams that aren't worried about lottery picks right now
Okay,
in the NBA. So
sounds good. Well, I mean, so you want to drop down to like positions 7 through? I think Cayman Maluk, the center that you were talking about, Duke. I think New Orleans got to grab him. They need a center desperately at 7.
I'm hoping he doesn't go to Duke. I mean, that's a wasteland. I don't want that kid from South Sudan ending up in New Orleans. So,
No, but I mean that's the team that needs a
of
guy
course,
like.
I agree totally, but I'm rooting for him not to go there. And I'm not a Duke fan. I just know that that place seems to be an abyss for players right now. And
Yeah, it has a reputation in the NBA of a place that you don't necessarily want to
yeah,
go to
yeah. So
or stay.
yeah, exactly.
But I got him going to the Pelicans and Nets. I think are going to be very active. I think they're going to go for something fundamental. I think they're going to go for the version of the Bosnian dude they gave up, who I love, and but it was injured all year. And they're going to go for the kid out of Duke. He's got good height, 6'6",
Yep.
220, and he's a good shooting guard, small forward. So he's got fundamentals that they really need on their team, and he's got good size and he's got great leadership. And I like his style. And he's very strong. Like he's not scared of anyone. That kid is raw. You know what I mean?
He'll be another. He's going to be like lots of Duke players. They might have won a lot of people,
Yeah.
but don't tell me that Kyrie Irving. Oh, Kyrie Irving has a championship. He's a Duke player. He played there 1 year. Don't want to hear about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, listen,
This
let's
guy,
not go on the rant.
this guy is going to be this version of Grayson Allen. That's what
Yeah.
I think. This guy's getting way overdrafted, and if he proves me wrong, good for him. I'm not rooting against him, but I just think this guy is Grayson Allen, good player, but
And that's why the next pick,
never live up to
The
draft.
Raptors have the next pick that at 1.9% they got instead of seventh or sixth. They slipped all the way to ninth. They're not happy about it, but trust me, they got a couple of guys, and you know their GM is probably got some guy from the deepest, darkest Africa, and we've never heard of him. And he's a
Yeah,
project, and he's got a really cool name, and it's not what the Raptors need right now. They need a center. They need someone to help the big Austrian and help Barnes. And they need front court depth. And I think the kid that they're after, or the rumors, I think he's too undersized. But people are talking Colin Murray, Boyles, power forward, very, very talented, undersized power forward center out of South Carolina, 6'7", 240. Just has a bit of a mean streak. He's a little bit unpolished,
would you
but they need a bruiser like that down low.
take him over Broom from Auburn?
From where?
The kid from
No, hell
Auburn.
no. Hell no.
Like, why would you take him over that guy? That guy's
I'm
already
not
a
taking him.
4 year. No,
I'm
no, I'm
just
saying there's a 4 year senior who can
I
is
take Broom.
yeah.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
even that
I
big.
don't think Broom is going to last outside the top 6 picks. Look,
Well,
just because he plays below the rim, if he's legitimately 6'10", that kid is going to be he's going to be a 2010 guy in the NBA for his career.
projected for that, right? That's what's crazy.
Huh?
They don't even have him projected for to be like a high pick.
It's
Like they
crazy.
thought,
But the next guy I want to talk about, who I do like, and he's Euro, and Houston's eyeballing him because the kid can shoot, and they feel they need another tall, agile, multifaceted combo point guard. Somebody can shoot the three, can run the show, who's got good height and savvy. And this kid, Kasparis Jaskonas, the point guard for Illinois,
right,
the kid is talented,
right,
and I love him.
yeah, good player, really good
That's who
player.
I got next. But I mean, you know what? I mean, I'm just swinging at the fence right now. I mean, Portland's got the next pick at 11th. Who are they going to go for? Another point guard?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? This is just a stretch now, right? It's like,
Do you know who
okay,
they want? The kid out of BYU.
well,
There's
that's,
rumor is
yeah,
as a point guard, the kid's 6'9" and a quarter. He's raised thin,
right,
but Igor Demon is the kid that they think can be a Magic Johnson point guard for the future.
yep, yep,
You heard that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I knew he was there, but I mean,
Yeah. I don't know, man.
once you start again,
But he's got the height, the length. My God.
as much as we want to say it, nobody's a for sure thing. So
No, of course not. But I mean, he and in the combine, he was just lighting it from outside, and he's
right.
got terrific height and wingspan. Right?
You see, so let's go to the NBA. Let's go to these. We're at 50 minutes here almost, so
All right, let's go.
let's talk about these next four series. First thing I found out about these next two series, the two Eastern and the Western Conference Finals, uh,
Yeah.
Mike Malone fired Nuggets coach, a team that just lost, got their butts kicked yesterday. He is joining ESPN for the West Coast Conference stuff, so you get to see him. Hopefully, the Raptors get a brain, find some new GMs because again, like you just said, I'm tired of that act. Okay, let's move on. You jury, you got a title for us. I mean, it's unbelievable what you've done for the team, but your protege and you
So
are
you
saying
noticed me
you're
sliding
working.
that in, eh?
Oh yeah, it's perfect because it's so true. I'm tired of that. Okay, I don't need
Sorry about that. I
Cardillo
had
Carvalho from Brazil that
yeah,
I've
yeah.
never heard of and is never going to play in the league. Okay, let's be real here and get rid of your coach, Darko. Sorry, you got put into a no-win situation with this team, and let's hire Mike Malone, Raptors, please. Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
let's
I agree.
go from there. We need to build a new the team. I say we don't play on them, but we as
Yeah,
fans, there needs to be a new identity in Toronto,
yeah,
a
yeah.
new vibe. This one is tired, it's old, it doesn't work anymore. So
Well,
let's
thank
change.
God there is a new energy and vibe in Toronto, and that is the new WNBA franchise, the Toronto Tempo, who we'll talk about in a later episode once the season progresses. But good point, Trent, and I totally agree with you.
Good. So the first two series. So let's start out in the East. You got your Knicks against
Beasts, the
against
beasts
against
of
the
the
pick of the team,
East.
against the team that someone said could possibly be there at the start of the season. Who would that have been?
I don't know, but the team I
Oh,
said
yeah,
from the start
right.
of the season that will be
Pacers.
there is there, and that is my Knicks, the
Pacers.
Knickerbockers. First time in
Yeah,
25 years.
Pacers. The Pacers have snuck into the Eastern Conference Finals
So
somehow.
once again, Trent picks, of course, the team opposite that I am going
And
to
I
pick
said the Knicks as well could have
for
been
the
there as
sake
well.
of the show, of course, with all hoop junkies from Pauly or Rowley. It's it's basketball. One of us has got to take one team. I'll take the Knicks. He takes the
The Knicks.
Pace.
That was not
Everybody's
true.
happy.
I've never cheered for the Knicks, so that's not true for one.
You're always
Secondly,
slamming the Knicks, man. Always.
well, they're a horribly ran franchise. Let's be totally honest, ownership wise,
Up
and
until this year.
until yeah, I mean, again, this is gonna be this should be a pretty fun matchup. I think I'd I'd be I'm not gonna say the Pacers can't win, but I would be ultimately we would be surprised the way New York is playing right now, especially the way they play at home, and even the way they played on the road. I mean, they went into Boston and won a game, two games, right? So I don't know. I'd be surprised not to see the Knicks in the final. And let's be honest, the league wants the Knicks in the final. The league does not want Indiana and Minnesota in the
Well, let's
NBA
talk.
final.
Let's talk. Let's not talk about what the league wants because we know what the league wants.
But
Let's talk
go
about what
Pacers,
we
man.
want.
Go
So
Pacers.
you
I'll
think
make it clear. Go Pacers.
Trent's going for the Pacers,
I think
obviously.
the Knicks are going to win, but I'm
If you
cheering for the
haven't
Pacers
noticed that in
for that.
just recently,
I think the Knicks are going
obvious.
to win. I think the Knicks are going to win, but I'm rooting for the Pacers. That's
Yeah,
what I'll tell you.
yeah. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a grind out series. I don't see it being a 4 game in a row series. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go to the seventh game, six minimum.
Yeah,
But
I
the home court advantage is for the Knicks at the Madison Garden. The way they're being represented by the fans and the crowd and history is it's electrifying, and it's a huge advantage. I don't care what anybody says.
square garden, man. The oldest
And
in the
and
NBA.
the Knicks always play well against Indiana. They
Yeah,
just they know the Indiana team. You got to pay attention to these guys. They got eight to 10 guys that can give you double
both
digits.
guys off the bench running. Shout out
And
to a couple of our Canadian
oh
kids
my
that are
god, and I have to admit, Miles had a good year this year. He's played well. I think they're going to keep him. I think they're going to extend him.
stayed healthy and so
Um,
on.
yeah,
Amazing how
yeah,
that works. Like,
yeah.
it's, um,
No, but
I,
it's impressive, and I
that's
think it's going to be a
really
great
good.
series. But I'm going the Knicks in six, and
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if it went to seven. But I'm going Knicks. They got the home court advantage, Madison Square Garden. It's electrifying, and the Knicks. There's a destiny vibe going on with the Knicks right now. That the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. I don't have my Knicks hat on. I wore it in their last episode, and it got poor numbers. So I just like, and they
Don't
weren't
wear that.
playing well. So I was like, okay, hold on, let's see what happens.
Nobody wants to
Anyways,
see that.
um, and then so
We
your
can talk about
leader. Let's talk about your team. Why do you think the Pacers
not my team,
can compete with? Well, it was in the very first episode we did. As a team that you said, watch out for these guys. They could be
yeah,
that.
true. But I don't necessarily outright root for them. But I would say right now, the reason I would say that I'd be surprised to see uh, Indiana win is I think the physicality of the game favors the Knicks. I think the players that they have in the positions that they have, they do play more. They can play a more physical brand. Not that
Yeah,
Indiana
yeah.
can't, but I find that Pascal Siakam's not a big, huge guy, right? Um, him and OG going at it should be great. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some really good matchups in this series, and I mean, who knows Halliburton, Brunson. I mean, it's yeah, there's it's a. I mean,
Josh Hart will be D'ing up
hard. I
Halliburton.
mean, exactly. So the game should be great. I'm just hoping for great games. There's been far too many blowouts in these playoffs, um,
Terrible.
but I'm just hoping for
That's my
good.
only complaint, Trent, is the
We're
sheer
talking about
amount of blowouts. It
great.
was laughable after a while. I was like, come on, man. And your comment, what you said was true. And
Yeah,
Trent hit it right on the nose. He goes, these teams jacking 60, 73s in a game. This is what it's doing to the game.
so when a buddy of mine, Blaj, and I talk, he's a huge basketball fan, Croatian guy, so he loves basketball. He said that's how he says it to me as well. He goes, "What happens now is a team starts the game out, they're shooting threes like everybody does. They get down by 15 in the first quarter, and they go, well, the only way we can get back is by chucking more threes. And then what happens is they either get back in the game or they get beat even worse. And that's what this league has become. A lot of those blowouts, if you watch them, these guys get out, some of these subs get on the court or even the starters. Once they're down by 25, it just becomes a chuck fest. I might as well be watching basketball at Kitt's Beach. It becomes a chuck fest.
You know what it reminded me of? And it's a very good point. I agree with you in
So,
Kid Speech, of course. But if you watch the way that the Cavs, nobody's talking about the way the Cavs flamed out, and how their performance was really quite terrible, and the fact that three of their starters sat out the first game of the series after the year that they had was absolutely ludicrous, and the collapse therefore that ensued was absolutely shocking. And that's exactly what the Cavs started doing, jacking from the
yeah,
three. And Ty Jerome was one of the reasons why they were actually even in the position they were in because of the injuries. He was playing out of his mind. But the only thing he knew is when I come off the bench, I got to take over because nobody else can. Big toe Garland, toe injuries. I've never seen so many toe injuries in the NBA. I mean,
as
my God, that is a
I
debilitating injury, by the way. I understand. I've never had one,
I can imagine.
never want one. But so, I mean, again, I just had to bring that up. That collapse, they were so good and they just collapsed. But, anyways,
And to
side note.
start to start the playoffs, another side note, I did say that Cleveland has this iteration, as one of your favorite words. This iteration of the Cavaliers has never proven themselves. Was it fair? I ask you. Is it fair to say, hey, I can still question this team because they have never won. They haven't won the big series getting into the Eastern. They haven't been winning. They win all year, and then they flame out in the playoffs. And I
Yeah.
brought it up
Yeah.
at the start of the playoffs. I said, "Do you trust these guys?" I said, "I don't," and I'm rooting for them because they're a fun team to watch when they're
Oh
playing the
yeah.
right
Oh
way.
yeah.
But I'm
I
not,
like
su-
their team. I
I'm
love
not
their
surprised at
players.
all. And that's the only reason I think Indiana has a chance. Is because, like everybody knows, it doesn't matter what level of sports, whether it's junior high, high school, college, pros. Momentum is a real thing, and Indiana has momentum right now. They they really believe, and so do the Knicks. But that's why this should be a good series because Indiana believes it. They believe they belong where they're at right now. Don't even think for a second they don't think that they should be in the.
Well, I
They're
think
going
it's
to be
really quite obvious they believe that because of how they're playing. Is really their play speaks for itself,
momentum is a real thing.
and their depth shows they're a handful for a team like the Knickerbockers that their coach has a hard time going past seven players on the bench, eight, and he's starting to
Yeah,
think he starts sweating.
you
But
got to
I
recoup.
think one of the big things about nobody talks about this is the emergence of a guy that I thought they would toss aside a long time ago, and Mitchell Robertson. Talk about Mr.
Yep,
Wonderful. The guy does one thing really wonderful,
yep,
and everything else pretty bad. And I'm surprised. As a big man as he is, he's played fantastic. He is one of the key to them moving past into the finals. They need his depth. They need his height. They need his offensive rebounding. They need his blocking.
yep.
And he's a handful. Now, when they play them, the big boys together, and then you still got OG, and you
Yeah.
still got Hart, who's got a heart of stone. The guy
It was a rebounding
just
menace
a
in Hart.
warrior, best rebounding guard in the NBA. And then all of a sudden they become looking a little bit dangerous. And then you got Precious, and you've got Deuce, and all of a sudden, and the way they play D, I think it's going to be an exciting series. I agree with you. I think it's going to be run and gun. I think if it's going to be a run and gun series, it'd be more exciting than if it was going to be a defensive grind out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's going to be run and gun. I think if they get into the late 120s, both teams, this is going to be a great series. I
Yep.
think and they both teams can, but they need the better offensive team has more depth.
Yep.
The better defensive team is about equal to the a team that has more depth. It's a really interesting dichotomy, these two
Yep.
teams.
Yep. For sure.
So I'm
We'll
going
face
the
it.
Knicks. I'm
Yeah.
going the Knicks in
I think the
six.
Knicks are going to win. I think the Knicks are going to win. I'm just rooting for the Pacers. I'm rooting for the teams right now, just so everybody knows. We're going to do the West, and it's OKC Mini. I'm rooting for the Pacers, and then OKC, and then Mini. There's three franchises in the history of this in the league that haven't won a title. Denver just got theirs. I'm rooting for a team that doesn't have a title. I don't care that the Knicks are the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NBA. Okay, they haven't won a championship since whatever, how long? Just like the Leafs. I don't want.
72,
I don't care. I
73.
don't care to ever see the Knicks win a title. I'm glad not to. So go Pacers.
I watched their second championship.
Yeah. So
Walt Clyde
next
Frazier
year,
just he saved that one. Holy
go
smokes.
West. OKC and our Canadian guys against
Yes.
Anthony Edwards and
Yes.
Julius
So
Randle.
before we go any farther, I was thinking about this, and the NBA, if you look at the title of our show and the evolution of the NBA can have little minor circular vibes going through a phase. And the NBA has shifted. There is a shift in the NBA finally. And old school is slowly falling out or quickly falling out, however you want to look at it. And new school is becoming the new NBA. And the top four teams in the NBA are all exciting teams, all teams I watched throughout the year and enjoyed watching all of them. And to see them, all four of them in the finals is exciting because it's not the teams. Everyone thought it was going to be Denver and Golden State and the Cavs and Boston. Look at the collapse of Boston. Really unfortunate, and my heart goes out to Jason Tatum with yet another player like Damian Lillard at this stage of the season. Achilles tendon snaps. I mean, talk about horrific. Like, good lord. But getting back to it, Trent, you called OKC from the very beginning, our very first show about 23 weeks ago.
Yep.
And there's Canadians on there, and we talk about all Canadians in the NBA because it's the second nation in the NBA behind America that has more players than any other nation in the world, and very proud of that. And more to come. And so I'm taking you're going AKC, but I know you love. Mini recently. You've kind of fallen in love with how they
I
play.
well, like we talked about early in the season, like halfway through the season, that trade between New York and Minnesota looked so lopsided. It looked so bad on Minnesota how Anthony Towns was playing and how Randall was playing, right? And now that's changed. Now
Yeah, yeah.
Anthony Towns is still playing great, but all of a sudden Julius is found his groove
All star
in
rhythm,
Minnesota, right? I mean, he is
triple dubs,
they,
man, dropping
have
dimes.
a cohesive unit. Ball moves. They know who the man is. They all play their roles. They have
Yeah,
deep bench with they have length. They can
yeah.
shoot the ball. I mean, Chris Finch's a great coach, obviously.
Well,
Uh, I mean, God,
Finchie's done
I,
an unbelievable job.
this is a tough. Again, this is a tough series. I'm going to take OKC, but I think it probably goes 7 games again.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
Minnesota's
I
not
hope it
going
does.
quietly into the night, right? It's just not.
Being a hoop junkie, hence my nickname. I'm selfish, and I'll say I want every series to go 7 games. I don't
Right.
care for my own selfish,
I know
but only if the games are going to be good. Of course, most games that go seven, they're usually really tight. It's going to be an excellent series. We have yet to seen that, and I'm hoping both the Western Conference Finals,
Yeah,
and the Eastern Conference Finals, both of them go seven, and we have a phenomenal closure to the season.
yeah.
And it's going to be exciting. Trent's going to go OKC. I think they're the better team.
I mean, but
Although,
let's not be shocked. Let's put it this way too. Let's not be shocked if Minnesota was here last year.
yeah,
Nobody should be shocked. There's no Western
no one's
Conference
talked about
Finals
that
here,
at all.
right? Don't think that they can't win. This for me. Just the
Yeah,
way these two teams match up. I'm rooting for OKC because hey, Shea, Dort, we got Canadians on. I'm rooting for them. Plus, again, just I'm not going to be disappointed in which I really won't be disappointed if Minnesota wins. I mean, but I
I
am
don't either.
cheering. I am rooting for OKC. Like
Actually,
let's not
for
be
the
surprised
first
if
time in
Minnesota's here,
probably
right?
for the first time probably in my life, Trent,
It's a coin
I
flip.
look at the final four teams. I like them all,
Yeah, that's a coin flip.
and I've
Mm,
watched all of them multiple times this year and enjoyed all four different types of basketball. So I think it's going to be really exciting. I Mini what Mini did, and I drafted I out of my 8 teams in fantasy and Yahoo. We did a segment on Yahoo for about 20 episodes, I believe, this season, and I picked him up as a second round, third round pick. Believe it or not, I got him as a third round pick, like tenth pick,
yeah,
11th pick sort of vibe. Anyways, second round. So he just went off, and he is going to the echelon of superstardom in the NBA,
right.
and proven it. And what Finchie did, and the big man in the middle played fantastic.
Yep.
Julius finally woke up and tried to be friends with the big Frenchman because they hate each other. And then the redhead flamethrower from New York, who had the most threes last year, finally got healthy in the second half and contributed to the second half. No one talks about the oldest starting point guard in the NBA, Conley.
I was just about
What
to
a
bring them.
remarkable, and they extended him. They gave him another 142
Look,
million.
look where look when their season with 20 games left when it turned around. Who was back in the lineup?
Yep, that's why I
Conley.
mentioned those things.
Yeah, man, Mike Conley. I mean, you have to have some veteran leadership, right? And a guy who's going to hit open shots. If he gets an open three created, he makes those shots. He knocks those down quite a bit.
And another
So
guy that nobody talks about, Trent, I think it's a really good point, is also on the Wolves is SGA's brother,
yeah, yeah,
his
cousin.
cousin. They're brothers,
Yeah, yeah,
and he's played an absolutely phenomenal role as the seventh man in their rotation, and played really stepped in as a point guard, shooting guard, a real defensive guy. So and another Canadian.
yeah.
So it'd be very interesting. I'm excited about the series. I'm going to go. I I want OKC to win. I want
That's kind of what I'm
Shea
at.
Shea to
Yeah,
get the MVP of the season and the MVP. I think that would be phenomenal for Canada
yeah.
and for the franchise. They deserve it. But honestly, if Mini wins, I wouldn't be upset at all.
Well, I think Mini is what we just said about the Pacers. Momentum. Mini's like on a heater right now. They're
One
not beating
hundred
people.
percent.
They're not winning series in 7 games. They're beating everybody in 5 games. They're
Well,
not
I mean, this is
like
this is what
yeah,
Pacers are doing in the East
exactly.
as well.
They're both on heaters right now.
Yeah,
Let's hope this break that they both have. doesn't hurt the momentum because
Yeah.
they're both were on heaters. They're
Yeah.
beating
Yeah.
people. Like,
Wow.
you know,
Well, that was
so
awesome, Trent. And anything else you want to share before we wrap things up?
I got nothing. Go KC, go Pacers.
Yeah,
Roosters
I
in
mean, it's exciting, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us again. Really good episode, tons of content. Basketball just continues on. It's 365, 24/7. Trent and I are going to be there with the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. If you enjoy this content and you'd like to watch some more of our content, go to at the Canadian Bro Show on YouTube. Either look for the Canadian Bro Show or under my name, Paul Bale. And also, Trent and Ben Poulin have just successfully finished over 50 episodes on Spotify with their radio show, the Ben Poulin Radio Show, Two Guys and One Rant, of which Trent is the co-host with the most. Once again, funny how that works out, eh? It's hard to find good talent out there, and when you find it, everybody wants it. And in the meantime, thank you very much, Trent. We'll talk to you soon and later, bro. Great show.
yeah,
In the meantime, everybody, I'm going to be closing things down. I just want to say be kind out there. The world's crazy. It's free. It's easy. Make somebody's day. Hold somebody's hand. Help an old lady across the street. Just do something kind. Don't expect anything. And give someone a hug. Tell them you love them. Tell your best friend you love them. Trent, I love you.
I love you.
In the meantime, we'll see you for episode 27. This is episode 26, all stated in the ticker below. It will be up on YouTube in the next day or so. In the meantime, thanks kindly from Paul Bale, Trent Rowley, and our other co host with the most, the great, talented, prolific writer, Johnny, the legend, Leister. In the meantime, peace, love, and happiness all. Signing out.